This will be one of the last classes taught here in this room after 35 years of teaching in this room. So this room has a lot of contained energy, if you will. It has a lot of memory. It has a lot of purposeful dynamic. And people walk in here and feel it. And people walk in here and fall into this space of quietude, stillness, presence. But the most important thing to understand about endings is that they are very much part of one level, the level most of us live on, of human experience. The worldly plane of our lives has beginnings and endings. We're born into it, we live in it, and we leave it. And if you live a life totally in the worldly plane, you are living a very shallow spectrum of what is available to a human being. Because, in truth, we are multi-dimensional beings. Living in the three-dimensional plane of human experience, time and space, beginnings and endings, is an enormous school, an enormous field of experience. There's a saying of play in the fields of the Lord. This is the field. These are the fields. And most of us come here, you may not sense it that way, but to play in these fields. We come very quickly forgetting that from which we arrive and fearing that to which we go. There is a sense for most people that this world is temporary, but it is a very background sense. It does not come to the fore until much later in life, and I know people who are much later than life, and they still haven't become aware that this is going to come to an end. It is possible during the course of a life to touch multidimensionality. I think, personally, it's an initiatory need and right somewhere in your late teens to begin to know or be shown that this world, the three-dimensional plane, is not your true home. It is part of who you are, but it is not the fullness of who you are. Many cultures used to initiate people into name changes almost, to be able to give them a new rebirth into a higher level of awareness. A lot of times certain cultures would have you go out and do initiatory rites, like killing animals or do things that brought about a lot of danger, and would therefore heighten your awareness that the end is not that far away at any given moment, that there is something beyond, and that you have work to do, and you have skills to learn, and you have power to attain, and that you can give yourself, if you will, a new name, although that's not required, but it gives you the opportunity to know yourself in a way that you didn't as a child. Our culture has almost zero initiatory rites. High school, college, work. The initiatory rite is get drunk. Pass, get through school, get a job, make money, raise a family. They don't talk about it after that, really. Make a lot of money so you can retire. That's about the whole projection of Western culture. And if you don't make a lot of money to retire, then the projection is you're going to be working your ass off till you drop dead. And unfortunately, there is a universe of possibility that exists post we call it productive life. Post-productive life still is important, and there is almost nothing in Western culture that points to that. It all points to the get it now. Have fun, enjoy. It's so amazing to me, the blindness with which people move forward in this three-dimensional, time-based, space-based place. It seems to me, in most cases, a profound waste of a life. The idea of just having fun, getting drunk, playing video games, watching movies, streaming, a weekend's worth of somebody else's story over, while you have nothing else, as if you have nothing else to do. The life that people live, and it's not to be judged really, but I can only tell you, it's a thin veneer of what is possible. The reality of life is so dynamic, so rich, so absolutely filled with challenge and possibility and development and growth as a human being. The growth within the three-dimensional space involves all sorts of things, challenging yourself to be a surfer, to be a mountain climber, to be a poet, to be you find the name for yourself, the thing that really inspires you to reach higher, to do more, to dig deeper, to find out more about who you are and what you are as a person. This is really a gift of three-dimensional being. It's a gift. To just sit here and go to work every day and come home and watch TV and make a meal or go out once a week or something like that is the least attractive version of this life we're living. Helen Keller, who couldn't see and couldn't hear, said it's an adventure or it's nothing. I've been so inspired by that. The adventure is take it on. Take on life, do in life, create in life, find your path, do what you have to do, enjoy the multitudes of possibilities in three-dimensional space. But the secret is there's more dimensionality than that. There are higher dimensions, there are lower dimensions. They come at us in ways that are somewhat sensory, but not completely. The real path to multidimensionality is stillness. Stillness allows you the doorway into something that is already in place inside you, that is vibrating with life, that is in a way sustaining you and your life. This is how it is that you've come to be here. This oceanic power of being is alive and well in you, no matter what you're doing on the three-dimensional scheme of things that you are inhabiting. This oceanic life expands and allows you a vision of connectedness to something great. It also provides a vision of a doorway to something higher. Going down and going up are in some ways almost the same thing. You are escaping the three-dimensionality of your life, and you are beginning to sense that something much more wondrous exists beyond you. And you begin to experience, the quieter you are and the more you pay attention, that this higher dimension is vibrantly aware of you. That you are connected to this. Rudy called this the horizontal and the vertical. This is the vertical, this is the horizontal. Spiritual work, or the work of sitting still, or the work of connecting to yourself, the self, is a work that expands you above and below the three-dimensional plane and allows you to be informed by something massive and higher. And these vibrational awarenesses come into you and become more foundational than you can imagine, because they have something going on in them that is outside of time and space. because they do not participate in the same kinds of beginnings and endings that we know, that we live with, that we pray with, that we fear, that we hope about. All of that is challenged by this exquisite sense of higher knowing and deep grounding. It takes what Rudy would call extraordinary effort to ascend into a higher perspective and to open to a deeper grounding that allows your life to be informed by massive forces that will help shape you, guide you, and will, in the end, you will realize, direct your life. We have a wonderful sense in the three-dimensionality of our lives that we have some control, and we do. We have choice, we have possibility, we have an opportunity to create something within this narrow band of day-to-day existence. And it will seem really wonderful, and it will seem important. You will have a life with children and grandchildren, and you will have a life with, you may have big houses or small houses, you may have careers that are highly celebrated, or you may have careers that nobody pays attention to. You will have all of these things that will go on, and you will try to find in the middle of all of that some kind of pleasure, joy, and richness that makes it worthwhile. And the great teachers will tell you what you really are looking for in that three-dimensional ride that we take is something called connection, love, compassion, joy, simplicity, gratitude, grace. These are all the things that can happen in the narrow band of human life. People who achieve great things often miss exactly what I'm talking about: the love, the kindness, the companionship, the connection. They miss it. They know when they find out at the end that they've missed it, that they've missed everything. If you get life to deliver you into magnificent homes and wealth and power, you may think you have something. But every great story, Shakespeare, Sophocles, any story you've ever listened to tells you, don't believe it. It all gets taken away. Everything gets taken away. Enjoy the connection. Enjoy the connectedness of your day-to-day life, because that is real. On the other hand, if you have been initiated into multidimensionality, there's more. There's so much more. It's a moreness that very few people will understand. You will not be able to share it with all of your friends and family because it makes no sense. They're still very much in the uninitiated space. So they are living in a realm of three dimensions, and when you talk about all of this other stuff, it won't make sense. So what you learn to do is don't talk about it. Live it. Live it. Touch this base of underlying, I will call it love, oceanic love. Touch it. Watch what it does as it percolates up into your three-dimensional space and flows outward. Watch what it's like when you go to another human being and share this presence of oceanic love. And at some point, the ego-minded you that's hungering for love discovers it's already in an ocean of love, and it no longer requires it from other people. You become a vessel for it. You become so immersed in that love that you can just become someone who shares it. And then what happens, of course, as you become a vessel of presence, not only are you providing love everywhere, but you see it coming back at you. It just comes back in interesting ways. Rudy had a line I've used a lot, but I love it so much. He said, don't judge your spiritual life by your own happiness. Judge your spiritual life by the happiness of the people around you. The happiness of the people around you. That happiness, in many ways, is a presence that you allow. By becoming a vessel for, a channel for oceanic love, you can provide this environment. It's not a teaching, it's not a statement, it is not a fact, it's a presence that you fulfill. It surrounds you. You don't even have to be a happy person in it. You just have to be in it. And it will come out and it will do its work through you. And as it works through you, people around you will start to get happy. And you will be living in that happiness. So it's got a great quality, a value. So if you can tap into ancient presence, love, compassion, kindness, joy, and let it rise up and move through you and through the three-dimensional plane that we live in, so many people will benefit. And you don't have to tell them you've given it to them, and you don't have to get rewarded for having done it. You don't have to have audiences of people sharing it with you. You just live it. You embody it. And then the higher plane. There's an ascended state. And those of you who sit still long enough will start to feel a rising energy that moves out of 3 dimensions, and it gives you consciousness, awareness, clarity, assurance, and a connection to something so much bigger, so much further out, so far beyond your norm, that there will be nothing you can do to understand it. It's like a little ant walking around an anthill trying to figure out what life is. You can only imagine its limited perspective. These huge beings walk around with these things that can kill you all the time. You know, you live underground, upground, you're working all day long. I mean, how do you make sense of an ant's life? People have the same issue. How do you make sense of a people's life? We have so limited awareness of what's really going on. But the multidimensional spaces that we have access to will provide you not the answers as much as they will provide you the knowing that the answers are never going to be known by a human being. You might become an Einstein, you might become a Nisargadatta or Nityananda, you might become one of these rarefied people who get some major answers. But those major answers really come down to, you will never know. Trust. Be. You are that which you seek. This is that. That's the answers. This is that. This crystallization in 3-dimensional time and space is a very real form of, a manifested form of something so big and so vast that if you can just tie into it, tap into it, you will live a different life. Your life will be informed by something beyond the norm. You won't get it out of books, you won't get it out of other teachers' teachings. You will have a direct channel to this remarkable multidimensional truth that is available to you. But how to get that? Some people may be just given it as a gift. Some people may have been living 500 million lifetimes and have arrived at a place through each transformational state into something higher and are deeply aware of it. Other people simply have to work or practice. And what does that mean, to practice? Well, sit still. Sit still. 20 minutes a day, 30 minutes a day, sit still and watch this uprising energy or this incredible sense of foundational energy coming at you, and just go, oh. The quieter you are, the more you can get out of ego-minded struggling and problems, the more you can get into, let's say, present tense energy, not thinking about yesterday or tomorrow, but just here. This thing is waiting for you. It's not like it's a surprise. It's been implanted in every human being. Go there. Go into your heart. Nityananda would say, go there and roam. The heart chakra is the most accessible space. We have other accessible spaces, but this is a really good one for human beings. Roam in your heart or roam in your belly chakra. Harder to get to, but powerful. Go in there and, I guess, push the down button or the up button, or just sit still, and they will carry you where they want you to go. I use the word they as a plural. A lot of people have said, what are you talking about? They. Rudy talked about the guys upstairs. I talk about the guys upstairs. I also use the word God. It's really interesting. In my last talk, I used the word God. I described this event going into an airport 2 weeks ago, feeling very stressed, going to buy a new house in upstate New York. And a woman walks toward me with a sign saying, God exists, printed on her shirt, God exists, relax. And it was so powerful, and it was so immediate and so essential to me that that kind of information came through the atmosphere and really informed me. These higher energies come at us from so many directions, and we are so blessed by them. And we either hear them, see them, get them, or we miss them. And it's very easy to miss because we're not paying attention, because we are somewhere else. We're somewhere in the past with, why didn't they ever give me that thing they should have given me, and I should have had this and didn't get that? Or what if this thing doesn't happen? What if I don't get what's supposed to be happening down the road? You know, those lifestyles where you're living in somewhere else prevent you from finding your way into this still spot where things like God exists, relax, become important. The word God, I put it in the title of my talk, and almost nobody, not nobody, but far less people watch the talk. And I also started watching people checking out of my talks, because I use the word God. So just for reference point, I believe in God. I believe in something greater. I give it a name, and I think God works for me. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it self if that makes you happier. You can call it the divine. You can give it any name you want. But you know, for those of you who are having a hard time with that word and moving into spiritual realms to escape it, I can only tell you, you're not going to get rid of it in listening to my talks. The idea of higher power, of God, of something so great that it is we are incapable of knowing it, something, a creative force that somehow brought this into play, is a very real, dynamic thing. It's reality. And I don't care what you call it, you have to at some point honor it in your life. You have to honor its grace and presence, even when it comes at you in ways that make no sense and seem hostile. I'm going through a period, I've described it week after week, of what is called Neptune conjunct Sun, but that its concept is annihilating the self, the separate self. And it is sunlight pouring into every crevice and every shadow and every nook and cranny of my being, and they're giving me nowhere to hide at all. There is nothing that will be unseen. And it's just, and it is so uncomfortable. I cannot explain it. You cannot get away from exposure. You cannot get away from vulnerability. You cannot get away from, you can't go to safety. There is no safety. There is only the diminishment and the final eradication of this character, of this Bruce guy. Not that Bruce's name will go away, not that there'll be somebody probably sitting here, maybe, I don't even know that for a fact, but I do know that this process, if you sign on to the spiritual journey, and those of you who are sitting in this room may not realize that you have signed on to it, but if you're serious, you're going to go through this. You are going to go through the eradication of you. And that will take you out of 3 dimensions. It will take you into deeper truths and higher energies, and you will be living a different life. If you want that, keep digging. If you don't want that, stop. If you stop, they will give you 500 million more lifetimes to get more encouraged to try it again, because it's the road. It is the path we are all on. The three-dimensional life is a school of some kind. We're here for a purpose, but we are not here for very long. The journey comes and goes. The sadness, the regret, the grief of leaving it is phenomenal. And if you want to know the grief of dying before you die, get rid of a house of 35 years and move on to another place. And I know that's very minuscule for most people, but for me, it's a real drama, and they are taking it all away. And I'm trying now to give it away as best I can, but it's because this journey is into nothingness. Into nothingness. We're all on it. Into multidimensional nothingness, which, because it's multidimensional, is also somethingness. It's everything and nothing. And it's beautiful and it's ugly, and it's good and it's evil. It's everything. And we are that. We are the totality of that. When you live trying to be a good person and vote for this guy or vote for that guy and think this is right and this is wrong, that's fine. But the truth is, you're all the candidates. You're right and left, you're the up and down, you're the good and the bad, you're everything. We are everything. It's our drama, it's our story that's playing all around us. You can engage it with blind, dynamic thinking, I'm going to do something to change this, or you can open your eyes and realize this is what is, and find your path through that is not hostile, that is not aggressive, that is not filling you with anger and misery, but that ultimately shines light on the totality. That's multidimensional living. Rudy said, this life is your spiritual life. Multidimensional living means you're not in the 3 dimensions, you are in more than 3 dimensions, and all of those dimensions are impacting this space, and you will live a united life, a life full of grace, the ability to do more than you ever imagined possible, the ability to give more to people than you ever dreamt you could give, the ability to show up for people who need you, the ability to be a loving and compassionate force for whatever arises inside you and around you. That's the gift of what we're doing. This multidimensional movement from the 3-dimensional plane to higher and lower manifestations of reality allow you to become something beyond a whole person. It's a real gift. This is the gift. And it's going to go on. This practice in you will go on. And the fact that this manifestation of it, this class, is going to be ending in it's going to be ending at the end of June. We have maybe 2 or 3 more classes with Blanche and I here. There will be more classes ongoing while we're here. We're going to introduce you to another class space in Pasadena, which I'll teach at before this is all said and done, because when we leave, there is a class space. Greg and Laurel are opening their homes. They will be teaching, and their other teachers will gather there in Pasadena to keep this working and going forward. How that will work, I don't know. For those of you who say, oh my God, I have to drive to Pasadena, you should get rid of your spiritual life now. If you can't make it to Pasadena, believe me, the ride ahead is much bigger than Pasadena. And the journey we're all on right now is, it's infinite. And if you can't put out and do the work and do what you need to do, there's the going to church on Sunday version of this produces a good feeling of that I'm a good guy. But it has nothing to do with the dimensionality of possibility that exists. It's not absent from that, but it takes more than that. So those of you who want to continue with this practice, there will be a place to continue, and I am deeply grateful for that. And I will come back to the degree that I can to teach class as well. I don't know how often, probably mostly in the winter when it's warm. But one way or another, I will maintain a presence in your life, if only on YouTube. Also, you should remember, I am available 24/7 via email or phone calls if it's involving your spiritual practice. Please don't send me your screenplays. I am hardly a screenwriter at this point, and I have no more access to that world than you do. And so I'm not interested in that. I am interested in you. I'm interested in what you need, and I'm available to help. But all these other teachers will be available as well, and life will go on. And it will go on in, I think, a wonderful way. So just trust that that which guides us through this three-dimensional plane is very aware of what appears to be beginnings and endings that are occurring right now, but it is eternal. It's not worried about the fact that Bruce is going to New York. It's not worried that the house is going to be changed and be given to somebody else. It doesn't care. This thing that is the support of being is fine with whatever happens in the three-dimensional plane. Things come and go always. So prepare yourself. There's a change happening. Changes are dynamic. Changes have value. They make you reevaluate yourself, and they make you work harder. All good things. So I will be back here in 3 weeks with my family, who are coming to bid farewell to what my granddaughter Talia calls this the forever house. So she's got big lessons for herself in the time ahead. And my son Josh has a very big emotional connection to the house. Ari not so much, but we are moving on. And I will also say we may need help with stuff, packing stuff. I don't know. I will reach out via email probably, and those of you who want to show up and provide some help, that would be valuable. You don't have to, but I'm just saying it might be an opportunity to be available in that way. Lastly, if any of you still have VHS tapes in the world, you will notice the table downstairs in the living room is filled with great movies, but they're all on VHS. I thought before I throw them in the garbage, I would offer them to anybody here who still has a VHS machine that still wants to see The Godfather on VHS or whatever. There's a lot of great movies there. So feel free to take them. You can also, if you want to just be of help, take more than you would actually keep and throw the others away so I don't have to. But there's a lot of stuff that's going, and there will be more in the weeks to come, because we really have to get rid of stuff. So anyway, thank you for coming today. There will be, as I say, probably 2 or 3 more classes before this all shuts down. So know that you're welcome, and I look forward to seeing you at some of them. Oh, any questions I should ask? Todd.
Not a question, maybe more a comment. First of all, thank you for articulating what you said. I thought at the end of meditation, I was curious as to how you were going to describe my experience, at least of today's class, which was very much like an Alex Gray painting. But you're really good at describing the indescribable. And something that helps me a lot of times is, I know it seems like we have so much freedom that we have the freedom to forget our own freedoms, that is stay in the three-dimensional and forget the multidimensional. But what helps me sometimes is to remember that even though this body feels so solid in 3D, the scientific reality is it's 98% space. We're made of atoms that are 98% space, and it's almost built in our spiritual life.
I love the way you articulate things. We share a certain sensibility in that realm. Yeah, the body, people don't know this, but in real deep initiation, the body is the first thing to go. The body, and so does the earth. Human life just goes, boop, gone. And you go, and everything else is left. And then you have to begin to look at everything else. Life on the earth is much smaller and much less significant than anybody fully imagines. On the other hand, when you're here, it's everything. So, everything and nothing. Anybody else? Okay.
Are you going to be teaching on the East Coast?
Yes, I will continue teaching.
And where is that?
We're living in Red Hook, New York. I haven't announced this yet to the whole East Coast class, but we bought a house there. It has a classroom, and I have a lot of students from the New York area, so in many ways it will be bigger than what we have here, and I hope the room will accommodate that. But we're building a barn garage with an upstairs that could let's double or triple this, and we'll be able to get people in. The idea is to teach, but there may come a point where that's no longer interesting. On the other hand, I was told early on by these higher forces, they gave me one instruction: tell people what you saw, which now is tell people what you've seen or what you see, and that's what I'm doing. And for those of you who don't know, Blanche and I have an art exhibit opening a week from this coming Saturday at the Laundry. It's called The Laundry in San Francisco. It's called An Artful Marriage, and it has all of Blanche's pottery. It has her paintings from when I first met her in a way that is so, for me, moving, because when I met Blanche, the night I met her, we went back to her loft, and on the wall were these huge paintings, and I looked at them and I went, it was like meeting somebody through their creation, through their art. It took me so deeply into her immediately. That was the beginning of our life together, and that was 52 years ago. And those paintings are side by side in the show. And I was so moved when I saw them again in that perspective. And it also is a show of these photographs that I've been doing for the last 2 years that are proliferating in a way that's kind of shocking. And this gallery wanted to put these works together, and it's a big gallery, 16,000 square feet, and we have filled it. So I don't know if any of you can make it up to San Francisco. It'll be there for 2 months, from May 4th to June 29th. And it's a really stunning show. You can go online and look it up at the Laundry, or you can go online and look up blancherubin.com or brucejoelrubin.com and get a look at all this, or Instagram, Bruce Joel Rubin Instagram. I say this not to promote the work. I say it because I think the work will speak to you, and I think it will be a continuation of what I'm saying in the class. I think it works on that level. So if you want to go see it, that's great. It's also, I should say, if you want to create massive tension in your life, try to move out of 2 houses, buy a 3rd house, help your son move out of his house, and do an art exhibit in the middle. It's really demanding, and it is everything Rudy said we should be able to do. So I am trying to live up to that level of demand, and it really is really wonderful. Jordan knows, because Jordan knows what Rudy was demanding all the time. It's a full life, and I'm trying to write a movie in the middle of it. So, thank you. This is all great. I look forward to seeing you again in the next few weeks.